Hello there, I want to talk about a huge principle in Photoshop, and that's non-destructive editing. We've already touched on this subject here and there, but in these couple of minutes I want to directly address it. First, what's destructive editing? Well, that refers to permanent changes of your pixels. This doesn't take into account the possibility of undoing because that's useless at a certain point. So let me show you what I mean. What we did previously when we changed the color of that red polo was destructive editing, and that's because every time I'm painting with this color replacement tool, I'm permanently changing the pixel aspect of my image. Once that's done, you can't go back. There's no slider here, no visibility icon that you can toggle. The same thing applies to that adjustment command from the top menu. Let me get it again. Here it is, Replace Color. Here, yes, you do have these sliders, but once you hit OK, well, that's it. There's no turning back. You can't get to that state and further adjust your settings. That's destructive editing, and it's viewed somewhat the same way as taking an eraser and going over your image. You're basically destroying it. And you may say, OK, but I have Ctrl-Z to undo. Yes, we've just replaced this guy's t-shirt, and now I'll continue to work on something else. Say I'll add a moustache. And let's say this particular moustache is going to take me hours, tens or even hundreds of layers because it's clearly an amazing looking moustache, right? I'm joking, of course, but now I want to edit this color again. Can I use Ctrl-Z to go back? No, not really. I could potentially undo 1,000 times, that's the limit by the way, but then I'd lose my impeccable moustache. So working destructively is very frowned upon. Yes, it gives you somewhat the same results, but you're limiting your options down the road. Instead, I suggest you use non-destructive techniques. We've already spoken a little bit about smart objects. You saw how they transform regular filters into smart filters. Let me quickly show you what I mean. I'll make sure this is a raster layer. Next, I'll go to Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur. This is destructive editing because now I'm stuck. Once I hit OK, I can't do anything else. I'll go back and I'll repeat the process, only this time I'll first convert it to a smart object. After I've applied the filter, I can check the Layers panel and I can see this is now applied as a smart filter, which means I have complete control over it. I can turn it off or adjust it infinitely, no matter if I draw 100 moustaches after I've added it. Adjustment layers are also a big part of non-destructive editing. These are great for editing existing pixels on the screen, but they're not permanent. They act in a similar way to smart objects, where you can always go back and fine-tune their settings. You can also turn off their visibility, so that's great. And that's how we're actually going to replace colors later in the course. Masks are another great way of working on a project without permanent consequences. We'll discuss them in the following sections, but at this point it's important you realize what the difference is between the two working methods. The red polo lecture was the only one where we made this exception. Everything else you've learned up to this point is up to speed with the latest and best practices. As we go along, we'll up the difficulty and you'll start relying on various skills you've picked up along the way, so I hope you're ready and you're excited to learn more. Let's get to it.